What's going on, people? This is Lecrae.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Kel Mitchell.
Picky Wines, that would be me.
Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Brian Hooks.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Dr. Dorinda Clark Cole.
Yo, what up, y'all? It's your boy, Kev, on stage.
Yo, what's up? This is Doug E. Fresh.
What up? It's DJ Emmy for that Breakfast Club.
What's up, everybody? It's Mr. Talkbox.
Hello there. This is Kim Burrell.
Yo, what's up, everybody? This is Cardi Cortez.
Well, hello there. I am Jacqueline Carr.
Good afternoon. It's Jess with the mess.
Hey, everyone. This is Faith Jessie.
My name is Kid from Kid and Play.
Peace to the planet. Charlemagne the God here.
What's up, y'all? Las Vegas. It's Said Entertainer. I want you to download and tune into the greatest gospel station in the Las Vegas area.
It's the #1 gospel station.
#1 gospel station.
#1 gospel radio.
Check it out. I need you to do me a favor. I need you to go download Anointed Radio app.
From either the Apple App Store or Google Play Store.
For 24/7 gospel.
Make sure to check out their website at anointedradionetwork.com.
Music for the soul, music for your spirit, music to lift your heart.
That soul food for your body, that energy for your spirit.
Gospel in the morning, gospel for lunch, gospel at dinner, and then you go to sleep. You know what? Guess what? You dreaming about some gospel.
Sometimes these are the songs that really uplift us and get us through some of the tough times.
Salute Pastor J. Calhoun and Anointed Radio.
Know your boy wouldn't steer you wrong. Go listen right now. You feel me?
Check them out, without no doubt, because gospel is what it's all about.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning in to Anointed Radio Network. Make sure that you take the time to like, share, and subscribe. But hey, before we start this show off and before we kick it off, let's kick it off first with a scripture. And so today our scripture is going to come from Psalms 142 verses 7. Let's get that up on the screen here. So it says, bring my soul out of prison that I may praise your name. The righteous shall surround me, for you shall deal bountifully with me. A lot of times we are stuck inside a prison on the inside of us. We're stuck in our souls. And because we don't actually understand that there is a difference between actual physical pain and actual soul wounds. And so our souls, the pain that we endure in our souls, the hardship that we have dealt with, the emotional trauma that goes behind some of the physical trauma begins to hold with us, and it begins to keep us trapped on the inside of our soul, keep us trapped and keep us in prison. So with that, today we have a dynamic show. But before we get into it, we want to take the time to actually pray for all those that may be feeling wounded in their soul on today. So Father God, we just thank you right now. We thank you for actually coming in, and we thank you that you are the keeper of our souls. We ask right now that you begin to heal us from the inside out, that you begin to look deep on the inside of us and actually see what it is that is actually hurting us, that you actually look below the surface into our soul wounds. We know that you are Jehovah Rapha. We know that you are still a God that heals. We know that you are a God that knows all and sees all. And so you understand more of our pain than we understand of our own. And so we're asking that you come into each and every last listener on today. We're asking that you come into each and every last Anointed Radio speaker on today and actually heal us where it hurts. We're asking that you come in and release us from the prison that is in our souls, because we know that who the Son sets free is free indeed. And so we just thank you for that. And amen. So, hey, everyone, if you have not already, before we get started, we ask that you go and download the Anointed Radio app. Follow us on all social media platforms at Las Vegas, Anointed Radio LV, Anointed Radio, anointedradio.com. Do not forget to check us out on Roku. Yes, we are on Roku now. And so you're able to see all the dynamic shows that we have, all the phenomenal shows that we have that is part of Anointed Radio. So again, make sure that you look for us on that. Download our 24-hour gospel radio station where you're able to listen to to gospel music all day long, like no matter what time, 24-hour gospel radio. So with that being said, I am Prophetess Tish, standing in just for a quick moment for Pastor Jay. Make sure that you follow me as well. I'm on Instagram at fervently.creations. I'm also on Facebook, Tish here, as well as I am in those clubhouse streets, Prophetess Tish. I'm there Friday mornings and Saturday mornings, 10 a.m. Eastern. Do not forget to check me out in Atlanta, Georgia, June 2nd through June 4th for the Prisoner Award and the Vine Conference and anthology book release, where we have one of our very own, Pastor Jay, who is going to be writing with us. So make sure you come check out not only his chapter in the book once we do the book release, but also he will be a special musical guest on there. So come out, support Anointed Radio's very own Pastor Jay. With that being said, we have the ladies in the house, but we also have Pastor Jay. So we'll save the men for last and let the ladies go first. And let's bring up Miss Brittany and Sammy. Let's see. Here we go. Brittany, hey girl, how you doing?
Good.
Sammy, so real. What's up? And Pastor Jay, we're gonna do an all-girl show one day. And Pastor Jay.
I could leave.
Did you see his
I'm
face
just
when he
saying.
came in?
I could leave. I'm just saying. Y'all can have it today. I'm just playing. Hey, everybody.
It's gonna be the ladies of Anointed Radio.
Ooh, I like the sound of that.
The ladies of Anointed Radio. We're gonna have a special show. So, with that being said, come on, Pastor Jay. Let them know how they can find you, how they can follow you.
Hey, everybody. This is Pastor Jay, and like always, you can. I got something to say, and what I got to say is this: you can follow me at all social media platforms at. You see my social handle right there, Anointed Jaylon, Jaylon. And you could go check out any of my music, Jesus, You Make Me Happy, Renew My Praise, Slip Away, and all those good songs on all the digital streaming platforms. And just follow me and stay tuned. A lot of things are happening this Thursday. Everybody say Thursday. We're going to have an update soon for the new Anointed Radio app. So this app will be able to do more. It's going to be the Anointed Radio 2.0, where you could be able to watch the podcast. You could be able to listen to music. You'd be able to do all things in one place. So definitely keep your eyes soon to this update. If you have the Anointed Radio app, because if you don't, just go ahead and download it. But if you have the Anointed Radio app, make sure that you check out for the update in your updates, and it'll be a brand new experience just for you so that you can enjoy Anointed Radio. Pastor Jay.
What's up, y'all? You guys can find me on Instagram at I am Brittany Marley, and every Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for Testimony Tuesday at Testimony Tuesday with Brittany and Kelly.blogspot.com.
And I am your girl, Simi So Real, and you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Tick to the Talk.
Tick to the Talk.
That is awesome. Awesome. Listen, quick topic today before we bring up our guest, get her to introduce herself and also play a little game. But is there actually a difference? Oh, he went out. Okay. Let's flip it since Pastor Jay went out. Christian and dating, the dating life, like how is that like nowadays? Once it comes to being a Christian and actually dating, the struggles, the tests with it, like what are the challenges and stuff? Since he left out.
Is she singling out the single women? I mean, like, what was that?
I'm just asking. Because it's not easy. It's not easy. I've actually had friends in
ministry. So how is the single life for y'all?
That sounded horrible. But hey, our guest is like our prelude into dating. I mean, we have the dating, but no, hold on. That's not true, because a lot of times as married couples, we forget to continue to date. And sometimes the downfall in our relationships is that we get together, we get married, we start doing life or whatever, trying to juggle, and we forget to go dates. Like and it's very, very hard. Like right now, my husband thinks the only time we fix and go on a date is we go to the shooting range. Like that's the only time I date this. And I'm like, I'm tired of going to the shooting range. But so dating, like, what are some things that we can do? He's back. The man's back. No, I'm just saying. And so what are some things that we can do for his date nights? I don't know, Pastor Jay, do you have an issue with that? Like still trying to date also, but finding dating things that are fun for like you and your wife. Since they thought I said out, so we'll go. The married people will go first.
So date night is important. I think a lot of times what happens when you get married, you get comfortable and you get complacent and you stop dating each other. You start getting to a point where you're just a role and you're not going to the extra mile. You know, you're not opening the door no more. You're not enjoying conversations no more. It's either about bills or it's about the kids or whatever it is, and you don't have that excitement of what brought you guys together. So date night's crucial. I had to definitely learn that due to the fact I'm actually next month hitting 12 years, and it had to establish itself, I think, in year 10. We got back to going back having date night because you get so consumed with work and bills and kids that you forget about your relationship. And that's why so many people after the kids are gone don't have a relationship, because they lost their relationship while just maintaining.
Yep. No. And so it's actually, and then what else? We'll be celebrating 19 years in July. And again, dates are far and few between. And so then once it even comes to an idea of trying to figure out, that was actually what I was doing. I was trying to pick y'all's brain to figure out what to do for a date night because Valentine's coming up, right? And so I like.
Me and my wife don't celebrate Valentine's. I just thought about it.
Okay.
Valentine's should be every day. We said that since we started dating, that Valentine's should be every day. You shouldn't just pick one day to do something nice. If you're in a relationship, when you first was dating, they did stuff nice every day and they didn't call it a holiday. They didn't wait all year and was like, okay, I'm gonna wait next year around the 14th, I'm gonna get you flowers. No, they bought you flowers, they took you out to dinner, y'all did things. That's the things that a lot of people, I guess you could say, struggle in, because they be trash all year and then wait till Valentine's Day and then be like, I love you. That's very
let me tell you out today.
Oh, I think it's good for it to enhance. I don't think you have to. I think Valentine's Day could be every day if you're married, but I think it's great to be able to say this date, has been designated for those that, we have,
that's what your anniversary is for.
Yeah, but
that's
also,
where you go all out for. That you made all them meals.
If you happy, you might get some ministries on Valentine's. You might be able to
that's what I call it.
And go into the chamber room and go in the chamber room and act right. So I mean, it's a good thing. I think that once you're married and you make small things mean a whole bunch. You make small things like, even if you wait till the kids to go in the room and maybe you don't have a lot of money, put a blanket out in the middle of the front room and put some candles on and, make a nice fruit tray, chocolate tray, and just have good conversation, have your favorite drink, your favorite beverage, and just set the tone, set the tone, make that a moment, sometimes if there's something beautiful and you're driving and somebody has the kids or whatever, pull over to the park, take that picnic basket from the back seat, put the music on the radio and begin to walk down memory lane and talk about what you loved about each other back when and what you love about each other now and how that love has enhanced. So I think it's all a very beautiful thing. I was married to a pastor for over 14 years. And so, we're the best of friends now. We had some things that happened in our relationship and nobody stepped on nobody. That's not anything like that. Just ministry. And sometimes the ministry will take tolls in your relationships, and things like that. And sometimes at the end, if you're the type of lady I am, I'm tired. So after I get tired, it's what it is. But nevertheless, there's beautiful things. And it's the simple things that really make a world of difference in the marriage, And I had that. So, yeah.
What you say, Britt? Brittany.
What is the question? Because I think the original question was, is there a difference between dating and Christian dating? Was that the original question?
Or what just was like dating, like just going out, because it's certain things like it's certain things that I think like once we were in the world, once me and my husband was in the world, dating and going out looked at totally different than what it does now that we're a little bit more grounded, more mature. It's like we don't go to the same places that we would have. And like I'm gonna be honest, like we used to go to strip clubs and all that stuff together. Well, now that's not where we're going. We're not hanging, we're not fixing to do that. It's not about to happen. And so things is different. But one of the challenges that many married couples have is dating and actually coming up with dating ideas. And so that's why I was kind of asking. I was actually just trying to pick y'all's brain on dating things like.
But I do think, Brittany, tell them. I think you want to expound on what the difference is, because there's truly a difference between dating for those of us who want to date, that are single in the Lord. There is a difference, because dating always has a bottom line. It's dating with an intention. It's, you can go on a date and that can be just something that, I'm just right now, I want to have good conversation. I want to get dressed up. I want to feel like a lady. Or if it's a male, I want to smell good. I want to have grown-up conversation. And when I say grown-up conversation, I mean, if you have children, sometimes you like, it's not conversation on a certain level. I want to have nice, deep conversation, talk about things, that's going on in the world, talk about my dreams, maybe talk about some things that I have happened in life. And I want somebody to look good, smell good, and have grown up nice food, not Happy Meal. And sometimes, that's okay when you're dating, if that's where you are. I think when you're dating, you always should understand what the intention of that date is. Am I going just to have a good time with someone that is another believer, that's not trying to cross boundaries that I've set for myself?
Exactly.
Can they respect who I am and what I'm doing here in this moment? And if that's all it is but a moment, I'm explaining to you, sweetheart, you really cute. But after today, I'll talk to you sometimes next week or the week after. And that's what it is. Mm-hmm. Or if it's the attention of, what, I'm looking to build my life with someone. I have some things, but I want to go to the next level. And so you're letting them know, but usually it should come from the male, what the intention of the date is. Are you dating with an intention to be married? And that's Brother Jay Spate on the line.
Uh-oh. How y'all doing?
Jay Spate, what's your ideal date? Ideal date. Ideal date night.
Date will consist of music. Nice poetry lounge spot. Jazz, nothing too loud, nothing too where I gotta scream and holler and stuff like that. So just think of a Love Jones type feel.
Love it.
And if anybody didn't know, welcome Jay Spate. Jay Spate, where can you be found?
Man, I can be found all over Las Vegas. Just kidding. You can find me on Facebook. I have Jay Spate. I have Out of Bounds Outreach. You can also find me on Instagram at that guy _JSP8, number 823.
Well, everybody, welcome Mr. Jay Spade. He is our newest addition to the Anointed Radio family. He does a lot of great things in the community. He actually hosts the Preachers versus Musician basketball charity game for breast cancer and does a lot of great things here in Las Vegas. So it's definitely great to have him here on the team. So everybody give him a clap on up.
Yes.
So yeah, with that being said, go ahead, Prophetess Tish. What's next?
With that being said, we will bring up our guest today, Miss Tracy. Ready? Hold on once. There we go. Hello. Tell everybody where they can find you at, Miss Tracy.
You can find me anywhere online at Tracy Ready TV or Soul Care for Single Black Women.
Awesome. Well, with that being said, we're gonna go over to Brittany. We're gonna go over to Miss Brittany so she can do our game, and then hey, maybe we can get back onto our dating topic since you are the dating coach, right? So, Brittany, I yield to you.
All right, y'all. Tonight's game is the age-old game, This or That. Anointed Radio's favorite game they like to play. So we're gonna
Shots fired.
You said what?
Shots fired.
They love this game, so we gonna play it tonight. But it is This or That, What's Worse edition. So between the two options that you get, you just say what you think is worse. Got that? Got that, Miss Tracy? J Spade, everybody good to go? And it's a game for everybody, so just spit out the answer. So here we go. What's worse, doing laundry or doing dishes?
Laundry. I got clothes in the dryer now. Thanks for reminding me.
I need to wash clothes right today.
I got clothes in the dryer and the wash right now. Okay, bad acting or bad singing?
Bad singing.
Bad singing for me.
Singing. Yeah.
Bad singing.
Especially on Sunday morning. Don't do it.
Ooh,
it's bad act. I don't know. Like I love to hear good singers too, but bad acting, it's like a pet peeve watching something and it's just the acting is just not there. Funky arms or funky breath?
Ooh. I'm gonna smell your breath before I smell your arms. So
okay, well, either or, Jay.
Breath.
Ooh, that breath sometimes. That breath. Just back off with the breath.
Right.
Sometimes that back breath, the breath from the back.
Not
always from the back, from the back of the throat or the back tooth that need to be taken out. My God.
Ooh, yeah, but I actually like being in the car with them and like in the winter, once the windows have to be rolled up and you got the heat on, and then they start talking, like, man, don't nobody ask them not there another question.
Please don't say that.
Exactly.
And don't give up cinnamon gum because cinnamon enhances the funkiness. I'm telling you that. Don't give them the cinnamon. Give them mint, but mint still not gonna work.
It'll help. It'll help a little bit.
Have you ever smelled some bad breath? And man, make your skin start to exfoliate.
Oh goodness! I think we lost Tracy, but we'll bring her in after the game. If that's cool.
So, Brittany, I was going to say this about you saying about bad acting. So you don't watch Tubi at all, then?
No.
See, like with bad
Tubi's got some good movies on there. They D movies.
All hood movies.
I cannot do the bad. It's like I don't know. It just does something to me. It's like I can't do it. I cannot do bad. I can do bad singing better than I can do like watching.
That's singing.
Bad acting, I can turn off. Bad singing, like sometimes you be in settings where you cannot turn off bad singing, and so you have to sit there. It's like torture. Like, come on, man.
And then be
I've had to sing with, people who weren't so great. So I've learned to kind of. Anyway, moving on. Leg cramps or neck cramps? What's worse, a leg cramp or a neck cramp?
We'll say neck cramp.
I would say leg cramp.
Charlie Horsby. Painful in the middle of the night in your calf, that cramp. Oh my gosh, that is painful.
Yeah, that leg.
I got screws in my neck.
Oh my God.
Whoa.
Oh no. Okay, here we go. Dogs barking all night or the fire detector beeping all night. And no, you don't have the option to change the batteries.
Dogs.
I was about to say change that battery.
Nope, taking that option away.
Well, I've slept through that beat before. I know most black people.
I have too. I didn't it didn't lullaby me to sleep.
Right. Actually, I can't hear the beat because I lost hearing. So I cannot even hear the beat. I think both are trying to bring up. Let me stop. I can't hear the beat.
I'm so done that you're gonna be the broke down soldier today.
Yep, I truly cannot hear, and so I laugh at them because they be like, "It's one of the batteries need to be changed." I be like, "I can't hear it. I don't know what y'all talking about."
All right, we got Tracy back. Tracy, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, here we go.
That's better now.
Good job. All right, here we go. Not being able to get into your car or not being able to get out.
I'm gonna say get out.
I'm gonna say get in.
I'm a little
not able to get out. I'm hyperventilated right now. Yeah. Well,
See, I'm the type I will come and sit in the car.
That's me. Like
just to get away. So
I actually pull up in my driveway and probably sit in my car for about 30
but you
minutes.
can't
to
get
an
out.
hour.
Like when you're ready to get out, you can't get out.
Cannot get
cool
out
with that.
Oh,
I would be more frustrated wanting to get in and just kind of have my moment and can't get in. That would bother me more than being stuck in there. I'm like, oh well, I guess I'm gonna sit here another 30 minutes or however long. But why wouldn't one be able to get out of their car?
It's just a this or that game,
Wow.
you know. Which is worse. Expectations are not provided in this game.
It may be a situation. Maybe you snowed in that vehicle.
Oh, and that's
the way the
horrible.
Lord been moving on the land. You may be snowed in that vehicle.
As long as the vehicle can still run and I got my cell phone, I'm good.
All right, next, just a few more. What's worse, constant coughing or constant hiccups?
Coughing.
Hiccups. Hiccups hurt.
They do.
If you gonna cough, especially if you got bad breath, that's going back to the other one. Coughing with the bad breath. Every time you breathe out, I'm dying. I'm getting assaulted. Every time you breathe out, I'm being abused.
Oh my goodness. Next, smell of burnt popcorn or the smell of chitlins?
I love chitlins.
Ugh.
The smell though?
I'm gonna say chitlins.
Give me some hot sauce.
Chitlins?
I'm ready.
That's a throwaway.
What's worse,
item.
the smell of popcorn or
Chitlins.
Like, right. I'm trying to see what probably she's saying.
Popcorn.
Y'all forgot I'm from Alabama. Y'all can't ask me questions like that. I'm straight. Like
my family eats chitlins. I don't eat them. The smell is crucial. Next one, having too much company or bad company.
Bad company.
Bad company.
Bad company.
All right. What's worse, a bad haircut or a bad dye job?
Bad haircut all day.
Bad
I've never dyed my hair, so I guess bad haircut.
You said a bad weave.
I've had one before.
Got you. All right. What's worse, loud neighbors or nosy neighbors?
Nosy neighbors.
I like my nosy neighbors. I'm gonna go with loud because if something happened to me by the next 2 hours, they would already have the 48 hours at the door. So I like my nosy neighbor. I'm gonna go with the loud neighbors. I don't need to hear everything you got going on. I don't know what you watch on TV every night. I'm trying to go to bed at 6:30.
You in the 6:30?
I had Tracy and she said, I said 6:30. Tracy was like, she's like.
Last one. Physical. What's worse, physical work or mental work?
Physical.
I'd rather be physically tired than mentally tired.
Same. Agreed.
Me too.
Agreed. And that is it, guys. That is this or that.
Woo!
Your favorite game.
Our
You
favorite
came through
game.
again.
Came through one more time.
We ain't playing it next week now. No, I'm
And then one thing I wanted to put everybody, thank you everybody that's watching. While you're watching, make sure you share, like, subscribe. If you're watching from YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitch, and Twitter, go ahead and follow us. We're no longer on Facebook. Facebook will no longer get Anointed Radio, but clips. So if you want to follow us, make sure you follow us on YouTube. You'll get to see all the great things, and you could be able to subscribe and watch all of our previous shows. And don't forget to download it on Roku because we're on Roku. So watch it on your TV. Watch this on your TV once we're finished. And follow us at LV Anointed Radio. Share, like, subscribe, download the Anointed Radio app. And if you want to be a blessing to the ministry, go ahead and drop a coin in the Cash App at Anointed Radio Network. That was your paid sponsor. So, Miss Tracy Reddy, we're going to go ahead and go into your interview. So go ahead and tell the people, where is your hometown and where do you reside now?
I am from Memphis, Tennessee, and I currently live in Los Angeles.
Uh-oh.
How was that? What was that change from Tennessee to LA?
Well, it wasn't a direct change from Tennessee. I grew up, born and raised in Memphis, and then back in 2013 or so. Well, actually, before then, it took me that long to be obedient. Mm-hmm.
All right.
And I up and left and went and moved to Dallas. And I lived in Dallas for 8 years, met my husband, within 30 days of being there. And then we just moved to LA June of 2021. July of 2021.
Okay.
Complete God thing. It was all the moves were God things.
Sounds like it.
So when did you know your husband was the one?
Oh, that's a good question. That's a great question because I know we used to grow up asking that to the older women and to the married women, and they're just like, "You'll just know, baby, you'll know." I didn't just know. But I didn't just know. But
You know
I
what,
can
Daddy? I'm
say,
still guessing. No, I'm just playing.
Well, thank you for your honesty.
No. We together. We the right ones. We the right ones. But the thing that I can look back and say what made me comfortable with moving forward with him in that way is that unlike anyone else I'd ever talked to, he was always moving toward me. He was always, for lack of better words, facing me. And if there was a conflict, he's coming toward. Whereas in the past, conflict was almost introduced into relationships to start some drama so that we could go our separate ways. And so if anything came up, he was always ready to lean in and and work through it and move toward it. And hey, what's going on with you and how you feeling about it? And that's the thing. When people ask me that, that's the one thing I can point to say that's something that separated him from everybody else and kind of got my attention. I'm kind of not one who believes in the one principle or theory or whatever. I don't know that everybody has a one specific person that you got to connect to, and it's all from ungodly sources that hold the one concept. So I don't really prescribe to that, but I know what people mean when they say that.
So what was your learning lesson finding out that was the person for you?
Oh, well, and welcome to the show. Here's the story. So basically my path leading up to him started way before I ever knew he existed. And it started with a breakup also in 2013, earlier that year, with the guy who I'd been dating for a few years, for about a year and a half, 2 years. And
the eye roll for me is the eye roll.
It was the eye roll and the lean back. It was a combination.
Like it was a whole body language for me.
Listen, I'm so animated. I'm trying to control myself because y'all see my, dignified and stuff. So I'm trying to act
dignified.
We good.
I'm trying to keep it all in. But
have you watched any of our shows?
We haven't watched the show.
She said, dignified. Now, have you watched them on her?
We act up.
No, y'all, I can see y'all cut up. I see y'all cut up. But no, so this breakup happened. But even my process of becoming someone that someone could love started way before I met even that guy. My process started with a woman at church telling me, prophesying to me, coming to me 3 different times and telling me that God had a good husband for me. And I was very much not into it. I wasn't interested. I was living my life. I was doing my thing. I was having fun. I was going to school. I was doing all these things. And it just wasn't something that was interesting to me. And I had a little trauma associated with that because all my growing up years, pastors would say, people would say, marriage is hard work. It's hard work. And so I was like, why would I want to sign up for hard work? So no. So I wasn't interested in getting married. All my friends couldn't wait to meet their person, but I could wait. But that third time the mother came to me and she said that God had a good husband for me, I got convicted. And I went home and I prayed and I said, God, actually I went to my car. We was after church. And I went to my car and I was like, okay, God, if this is true and you do have this husband for me, prepare me to receive him because I'm really not interested. And God started doing that very thing, starting with telling me that I hated men. That was the first revelation. I asked him to show me, and he showed me that I hated men. And then he also explained to me, or with his gracious self, allowed me to understand why, though. It was because all these instances and situations that had happened that led up. So I didn't really like hate men like knowingly. It was a resistance, a wall between us. And so he started with that seed that had been planted many years ago, and it blossomed into what's now a program that I teach other single women. So yeah, it was a long process, healing and doing all the things to be ready to receive this good husband. There you go, right there.
Can I ask, what does that look like?
What was that, Jay?
I said, can I ask, what does that look like? You said something about hating men. What does that look like?
Oh, yes. My hate showed up as defensiveness. And so if a guy tried to speak to me in the grocery store, I'm like, what?
Oh,
I mean, I was very much, I'm gonna get you before you get me, you know. And when I said let me tell you about the first incident where I felt like I could get gat. Okay. I was about 10 years old. We had a little corner store in the neighborhood I grew up in. My family would order food from there. And, back in the day, a kid could still walk up there pretty safely, and I would go up there to pick up the food. And this one day that I went, there was these two guys. Now, mind you, again, I'm about 10 or 11 years old, 10 or 11. These two guys, mid-20s, maybe 30s. I don't know. Everybody looked old then. And they started making comments about my body. They started saying things about, oh, I know somebody hitting that, and all these different things. And I was just like, what? I don't even know. I know what they're talking about, but I don't know. Like, I ain't into. I'm a church girl. I'm not into all this. And so, but even beyond that, I'm hearing them say all this stuff, and I'm like, this fear is rising up in me because I'm thinking, am I going to even be able to leave out of here? Or, are they going to attack me? Are they going to snatch me? Am I going to make it home? Like, I was terrified. Compound that incident with countless other incidents. I've always looked older and shaped older than I was, So that incident times years of many of those incidences, and nowhere to process that, nobody to talk to about that. I never went back up to that. I obviously made it home safely, but I never went back up to the store. My family never knew why. They just knew I wasn't going. No, I'm not going up there, especially not by myself. And yeah, so the hate rose out of those incidences, and yeah, it was very much a don't speak to me, don't say nothing to me, stay away from me, don't get too close, unless I know you or invite you, don't you come over here, because I'm gonna chop your head off. And I did.
When you said
discharged, I did that.
When you said that you God showed you that you hated men, the men on here got a little shocked. Jay leaned in a little bit, head cocked to the side.
It was like,
what?
But to hear that being said today from single women, how much they hate men, and how many men are pursuing them very aggressively, pretty much how she just explained, and they're tired of the same games, and they get to the point of they do hate men and they don't want to be bothered. They want to be left alone, pretty much. And like what she just explained, it sounded like it was from trauma at a young age. Like, I would be extremely fearful of women if that happened to me. Like, boy, you sure is growing up at 13 years old.
Right.
Ooh, yeah. I was a little managed at 13, so I probably would be like, yeah, that's what's.
And then just thinking about that, it made me sit here and think, I have a daughter, and I would have been furious because, like, sitting here saying, first of all, we don't live in that world no more that we could send our kids up there because of how the world is. Right. But just sending my child because I worked at the high schools. They got grown men outside the high schools doing the exact what you just said, sizing kids up. Like I always said, people talk about R. Kelly, but they don't talk about the R. Kelly that's in their neighborhood.
Come on.
Because there's a lot of people
or in their family.
Or in their family. Oh, God.
Family.
And that traumatizes a lot of people. And I really feel like I would say the 90s, just from my experience, a lot of people that grew up in the 90s had no protection, which caused them to have this defense mechanism of like protecting their innocence, protecting their mindset. And like what you said hit me hard. You went back home and had nowhere to process it because you didn't know who to talk to process this whole thing. So you internalized it. When people internalize things, you turn that into, I don't like that, I hate that, like, and you get so, like you said, defensive. Like it's kind of like survival mode. Like I'm not going to let myself get in that situation to get caught slipping or be put in a place where I could be in a situation where I'm uncomfortable again. And it's kind of like a form of PTSD where you sit there, like any trigger from certain situations, you automatically on, 100. Like, bruh, we fighting what?
Right.
What? You say what? You don't know me. I'm crazy, So
right, exactly.
So I think that is something that's very deep especially because a lot of us grew up with what happens in this house stays in this house. And a lot of times we brought stuff in the house and we couldn't talk to nobody in the house. So it stayed in the house and we didn't know how to process it. So little childhood traumas came into our adult mannerisms of how we deal with things.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah. I actually had that mentality as well of hating men. And it was more so because by the age of 18, I had been molested by 5 different people and gang raped twice. And so by the time I had started to grow up, my thing was I hated men. It was nothing that a man could do for, like, the people that hurt me the most in my life were men. And so, that was the mentality. So by the time I got into the military, I had this different alter ego thing that was going on as a female, especially as in a motor pool, in an all male thing, to where I had this toughness. I mean, my mouth was potty, was it not, Jay? Like my mouth was.
She was not speaking the tongues that she talks now.
No, definitely was. And it was that thing of how you saying, like, let me go in and flex so they don't see a sign of weakness and think they can come at me wrong or think they can come at me sideways or disrespect me. Like, let me not show any vulnerability to make someone feel as though they have that opportunity. Yeah. And so it was kind of my protective mechanism of showing, like, hey, let me show y'all that, hey, I'm just as macho as y'all. My mouth is just as foul as y'all. My attitude is just as worse. And that's how I was in the military or whatever. It wasn't until I actually started healing from the traumas and stuff a little bit later that I was able to calm down and come out of that. But it came into some deep soul healing because I had forgiven the actions, but I did not forgive the emotions that were attached to the actions they did. So
you are talking. You are talking.
Did that turn over into your adult life? Like, is it?
It affected my marriage bad.
Really?
Oh, you was able to get married, even though you were, well,
I did not realize that I was more than just sex until probably like year 3. And then I found a new word that I could say no to having sex. And so it was just like nope, which opened our marriage into infidelity and stuff. And so it spilled over and it was toxic. Like I've went into homosexuality for a while. I've left my husband for a female before. It was very toxic, very toxic.
I wanted to ask a question, because so when you have the childhood trauma and it looks pretty much the same, don't you think, for men, that you might hate women, that you might, like them, you might love them and physically, but you don't want them to tell you nothing as far as how to be a gentleman or what they want from you? Okay, Pastor Jay.
You turn hypersexualized, and you objectify a lot of situations. Coming from a point where, growing up with a single mom and seeing how my mama would like deal with dudes, I would be like, nah, I would never let that ever happen to me. And when I went through I guess you could say, the growing up phase of finding myself as a man, because a lot of times I didn't get that perfect example where I came from to see what a real man was, opening doors and all. I learned that from, honestly, to church people. But when I got saved and saw people in church, I learned how to have ethics and how to have morals and have all that. I didn't see that at home. I saw women get beat, women not talk back. I didn't seen infidelity. I didn't seen cussing them out. Don't talk back to me. That's what I grew up with. So it's kind of like, it wasn't more of like, I hate women. Nah, I just didn't see them as them. I saw it was objectification. I could just put it like that from my point of view. For like, I like this person because of this situation, and I'm going to like I don't know why that's
flashback.
So like when I first joined church, one thing I can say, my Lord, and I joined the church as a teenager. Church girls were way more advanced than I was. And what happened was,
what had happened?
You thought that there was a standard when you joined the church, but then it turned back to objectification even after I was saved, because I thought that this person would hold themselves to have a standard, but then they was worse than the worldly girls. And I was just like, it made you trigger back to like, well, now, and this is what's happening in normal church today. You're like, well, I just got to save face at church, but then I'm a hellion and I'm a hoe Monday through Saturday. And the sad part about it is that shows you that it showed to me that I had to not go based off what I see with people. I need to start my own boundaries, my own healing, my own understanding why I'm doing these things. Because when I finally got married, I pulled in a lot of stuff. First of all, like Sarah and Sheer, no, I was in the military when I got married. That's the worst place if you have unhealed trauma, because they give you two things. They give you addictions, they give you anger, and they give you a whole bunch of testosterone to toot your own horn. And it doesn't help you heal. It makes you spiral more. So I
just want to make a announcement for all people listening in. If you are dating someone that's in the military, in the services, it gives them ammunition to carry on. Let this be your public service announcement for free.
Right.
Take heed.
They are the biggest hoes.
And toxic. I'm serious. The divorce rate is high because in the military, if there's a whole lot of unhealed people going through stuff, and they taught to push your stuff aside. Don't worry about your emotions. Do the job.
Adapt and overcome.
Continue to do the mission. So there's alcoholics, there's people on drugs, there's people that's sexaholics, there's people, all these things that's happening, and they're not healing themselves. Go ahead, Jen.
Isn't that the same thing that's in the church?
Facts.
I was about to say that's literally everywhere. You could ask a group of attorneys, group of officers, group of teachers, doctors. Everybody's got those people who are setting aside their core so they can perform in whatever capacity that is, whether that's to be perfect at church or to just be, doing their job at work. So it's not limited, I don't think, to
it's like we have a form of godliness, a form of a soldiering, a form of, and we're so used to walking around with a mask on, the world, seriously. And then once people actually had to put on the mask and actually had to sit in the home by themselves and had to sit with themselves, they realized they didn't like themselves, because now it was not a time they could break away and put on this fake thing or facade for everyone else and escape from their actual reality. They actually had to deal with the issues in their home. They actually had to deal with the issues in their heart, had to deal with actually the soul. And it wasn't like, it's a lot of people that end up in depression in a pandemic because they had to sit with self.
And
they did not have to break away.
Pandemic.
Yeah. It exposed a lot of soul wounds.
I don't know what the right word is. Pastor Jay said about, oh no, we didn't hate women. We just objectified them. And I was saying under my breath, that's hate, because your objectification led me to hate. Love don't produce hate. So it led me to hate you. essentially. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what was happening, objectification. And when you objectify, my husband says all the time, or he used to say all the time, he still says it, but we're married now. But he says you can't, objectify and or make people or coerce someone into sex and say that you love them. He's like, that's bump heads.
Is it really coercion, or is there like
or even participate because he also said something else. He said that when you got to church, you thought it was going to be a standard, and you were shocked. And oh my God, now I'm back to objectifying until you got to the point where you like, okay, despite what they do, church or out of church, in church or out of church, I got to do for myself.
And that's
the thing. And I feel like, oh, this is going to a whole nother space, but I kind of feel like that's where we kind of fail our brothers in the fold, because we put so much pressure on women. Women, y'all need to clothe them legs. Y'all need to do this. And wear stockings, like we were talking about earlier. But do all these things, which, and I mean, we got to do our part of what we have to do for us. But I sometimes think the brothers don't, because it's so heavily on us to do. They don't have to or don't. Like, let me ask you guys. Did anybody growing up tell you what I know is the opposite, but anybody grow up telling you, hey, protect your body, your virginity, hey, save it, don't be spreading all around? No. And so
they told me that.
The only thing
they tell them to use a rubber, and they tell us to close our legs.
That's what they
at
say.
Church, right?
My mother highly spoke of purification, being pure, being a virgin until you get married. Mm-hmm. And I tell my kids now, if I could have waited until I found that right one, I wouldn't have done it, because I spent many, many years skirt tracing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I really do believe that sex is absolutely ordained for marriage, because it's almost like a drug, right? It's like a drug, and you want to get that same feeling probably by every female that you run across.
And it's crazy, like what Jay said, how much time was wasted. Like, I sit there and I think about how much time and money I wasted on somebody I knew I did not want to go to that level of being married. And then, like Simi said, my intentions, I knew it was just to have sex. I'm just going to be honest with it. And when it happened, I had like the boomerang effect. I'm gonna be real, because when you have trauma, you instantly, once you get what you went for, you get dismissive to people who gave it to you. And it's just kind of like, I know one thing that the only thing my mom really told me is, just because my mom was a teenage mom, is that do not have kids in high school. Enjoy your life. Enjoy high school. Go, I was a football player. She said, enjoy ball, enjoy the prom, enjoy every aspect of what it means to be a teenager, because you only get to do it once. Don't rush into this adulthood stuff, because it's going to be the same stuff anyway. So enjoy your childhood. So that was the only thing my mom ever asked me to do. So I held to that. And that was something I was like, okay, cool. And I never did it. I didn't have kids till I got married. So it was just like, if those conversations happened more, because I feel like what you said, going back to internalizing, when we are introduced to certain situations at school, and certain situations in peer pressure, certain situations of trauma, and had somewhere to unpack it and fully understand it to our level, I feel like a lot of different choices would be made, instead of us trying to guess and figure it out ourselves. Because I know a lot of times I was just trying to figure it out because everybody just told me, don't do it. Why not do it? I was the wire. Even in church, they was mad. I almost got kicked out of church because I was like, but why though? Why? Yeah. And no one liked to answer why, which could have helped me, because I'm everybody's a different learner. I'm a visual learner. I need you to show me the pathway. Like, well, how I started to work out, I did 10 push-ups. You gave me the exact things I needed to hear, and I'm going to try it and see if it works. Not know, well, you just work out. What worked for you? And it's same thing when it came into church. No, everybody was holier than that. But nobody told me how they got out to where they was at, and coming in as a teenager and not having my parents in church, I didn't have nobody to go talk to, because first of all, I couldn't go talk to I was fronting in church as a teenager, because I was like, all the church kids, they was horrible. Oh my God. Because I wasn't having a daddy that's a pastor or a deacon or whatever, they was like, oh, you not really no church kid. And then I can't go home because they're not even checking for church. So it's just kind of like you trying to figure out, how is this journey in Christ? Like, we as Christians tell people, hey, walk this journey, but what it look like? Like, there's some people that really want to know what it looked like, and that's in all aspects, especially when even talking about in dating. Oh, you're gonna find that one. That is so generalized. Like, who's the one? What I should look for? Should I work on self? Should I learn how to be able to be by myself before I have to always depend on having company? Because that's a bad form to have too. There's a lot of things I feel like is not.
How do I date myself?
Right. A lot
I
of people don't even know what they like. Be honest.
But the problem is they don't even say how do you date one. How you gonna say how do you date one, the one, when some of us done had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. Some of us had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So how is it the one? We need to, and the problem is in the church. The problem is that we lack transparency. We had this discussion before. I mean, it took my grandmother. My mother had me at a young age too. My mom was a teen mom, and she was really smart. And there were some things that happened that how I came about, which, okay, that's fine. But my grandmother was the one that said, well, Sammy, these boys gonna start looking good to you. You know what I'm saying? I was like, oh yeah, I know what you're saying, Grandma. If it wasn't for Grandma, I would have been the type. My grandmother said back in the day, my grandmother had her first child at 14. She said her husband was 20 something. She said back then they didn't explain to you married who you married. She said they didn't explain to you about sexual relations. They didn't tell you did what the man said. So my grandmother said, I'm about to tell you everything. The stuff they didn't tell me, I'm going to tell you. And if it wasn't for my grandmother, I don't know what I would have done. But that's what we need. We need more people in the church like Grandma, Big Mama. Stop putting on a front and say, hey, baby, are you interested in boys? Let's talk about that right now. Hey, baby, you look like you sit up there chasing them skirts. Let's talk about what that look like and why you chasing those skirts. What you trying to do? Those conversations are so imperative, because they really, the things that we're doing, the things that we're discovering about ourselves, the way that men are objectifying us, the way that women are looking at, young girls are looking at men because they miss a daddy figure. All those things, if we had somebody to start being transparent, we might can make some have some healing at an earlier age. But instead, everybody's quiet fronting, and it's just a domino effect.
I think we have an advantage that they didn't have, because now we're all leaning into therapy and we're all leaning into this whole self-discovery thing. They just didn't really have those kind of that just don't do it, and that's it. No whys, no anything, no depth to it. So I mean, this generation, I feel is going to 20 years from now, I think things might start to look a little different, because now you got folks like us sitting here having conversations about it, who I would imagine we now charge ourselves to get offline and say, let me go find a young person, have this conversation. And so I think things are going to start to kind of have that effect where we're going to see it look different than it did when we were coming up 20 years ago versus 20 years to come. Because the conversations are being had now. We know what to say. We didn't know what to say. And that's a question too for everybody. When you were in your heyday of cutting up, could someone have said something to you to make you stop? And what could they have said?
My grandma did. My grandma is what kept me from was what stopped me from messing with this married man at one point, because she was telling me, she said that for years she had dated a married man. And I mean, and she was just like, I want you to know that you're special enough to have a man of your own, that you don't have to share anybody. I mean, she said, I did it for years. Don't make the same mistakes. And it was just something about that. And I left that person alone after that. Like, I kind of finally broke off. But that's what the conversation with my grandmother is what made me realize oh, you're worthy to actually have a man of your own.
Yeah.
I was married then, but we were separated during this time. And anyway, that's a whole nother story. We a whole Zane book.
I want to go back to the word that everyone keeps using is objectify, which means that you're pretty much degrading a female. I don't think I've ever degraded a female, right? And the reason why I say that, I mean, even though, you know, my what's the word I'm looking for? My objective wasn't just to smash, wasn't just to do X, Y, and Z. It was platonically fun, right? I know it don't look right church wise, it don't look right in the church or whatever it is, but that's what it was. There was nothing that anybody could tell me because I got married at a young age. I got married at 22, very young, very immature. Nobody could tell me, hey, you need to stop doing X, Y, Z. It was something that had to click in my mind and say, you know what, you've been doing this way too long. You probably need to chill out. You know, you had your kids watching you, right? And you say that you're carrying the mantle of Christ. So you're making Christ look bad, and you're also making men look bad because you're not willing to settle down per se. So I don't consider that degrading of objectifying women when it's a mutual thing between two individuals.
Sure.
I would say to this,
I see what you're saying now.
For me, I would say it because I went into something knowing that the person wanted something that I could not give them because I wasn't going to give be a husband.
Did you tell them that? Did you tell them that?
I did. And
to me, I feel like you're being open and they devalue themselves by knowing that you have straight up told them, hey, I'm married, I'm not leaving my wife. Like this is just, if you openly tell me, hey, I'm nothing more than a side piece, side chick, and I'm okay with it, because let's be honest, there's some women that, like I was, that were okay with being the side piece, being the side chick or whatever. And so at that point, you didn't devalue me. I devalued myself at that point of thinking that I was blessed to not even have that man of my own. And so I think sometimes that's a weight that you probably have carried that you should not have, because at the same time, we're grown. And so I have a responsibility for my actions as well. So if I decide that I want to be the side piece, if I make a conscientious decision to sleep with you, knowing that you're married, because it's a lot of women, especially in the church, because to us, it's like, oh, it is nothing more attractive than a godly man. And so they come after the men in the church or whatever because of that. Now you're devaluing yourself, thinking that you have enough in between your legs to be able to make this man pull away from his wife. And what happens is the female part and the male part, it begins to mix feelings, and they do not account for that. Or well, after a while, you're doing that stuff or whatever, and it does mix feelings. You are tapping into each other's soul, and I'm gonna leave it alone. But yeah, like I do think, women, we have to be accountable for our own actions as well, and realize that everything is not the men, because there's some of us that are more skilled at cheating than what the men are anyway. It's a game that y'all created and we perfected. And so, like, I just like I never got caught. I told on myself just out of GP, just to one up you. Like, I was the whole little thing. No, you didn't get it from Keisha. You got it from Walter. Like,
I'm done. Not her quoting that movie.
For real, that's what she did. But you know what? And sometimes it's not even about. I think that everything is spiritual, and when we put ourselves in a a compromising position like that, it's not so much other people. It's nothing like Tracy. It's not things that are the external things. It's things that's really going on within us, and we are medicating, or we are finding a way to deal with things in a very soulish way. We're not dealing with things in a spiritual way. We're dealing with things. This is what it's going to take. So a lot of times, mostly everything is spiritual. It's spiritual why I'm having sex with you. And it's not just the men. It's some Malikas, the super freakers out there in the church. It is
So
not just me. Malika, the super freak out there, she like, I know what I want to do. This is what I'm doing right now.
Anita Howard's.
Okay, this is what I'm doing. God, I know I believe in you, but I need
Not
this.
Anita Howard. I just realized what you said.
I'm gonna mute my mic. I ain't gonna say nothing else.
Oh Jesus!
She had the spirit of Adina Howard in her. She had
Adina Howard.
But one thing I definitely want to say is, and going back into your soul detox program, is I feel like a lot of times we got to look at ourselves and know why we do what we do. A lot of people on autopilot and then blaming everybody else. No, you doing a lot of things because you wanted to do it. Like one thing I tell people, I remember someone came to my church and I said, well, you wanted to do it, right? No, you wanted to do it, right? If you wanted to do it, I respect you more to say that I wanted to do it, and that at that moment I felt like doing it, than you to say, well, because of situation and this and blame it on someone else. Because at the end of the day, you wanted to do it. Nobody can force you to do something you can. That Big Mama has said that for years. Everybody, Big Mama said, nobody can force you to do something you don't want to do. So at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of times we have to just figure out what is our why. Speaking about it, what is our why do we do this? Why do we act this way? Why do we resort back to this habit? Why do we resort back to this mindset? Why do we act this certain way and things like that? So what about the soul detox program? Go ahead and break that down.
Well, the soul detox, like I said, was birthed out of my experience, which, like I said, started years before there was ever even any thought of a soul detox. There was the revelation that I hated men. There was that healing that took place like almost instantly. And what I find is that people, when you have that big breakthrough moment, and I knew I had a breakthrough moment because one, I didn't want to hate men. That wasn't when that came to me. I cried and prayed all literally night. And I was like, God, that's not my desire. That's not my heart. It's because I wouldn't call it hate. I thought I was just protecting myself. Mm-hmm. I didn't think I was hating. No, it wasn't that. I'm just protecting me. And so a lot of things we just wouldn't even call hate that it would be. But the next day I went to a restaurant and there were a group of guys there. Typically I would have either left or tried to avoid them like the plague. It was a buffet. Went up to the buffet. Me and this guy, he ended up there too. And I normally would have soldiered up, got ready to attack. But I knew I couldn't do that anymore because God told me I couldn't do that no more. While I prayed and cried all night. This is within 24 hours. And this man spoke to me and he was just talking, having small talk, and he stopped and he was like, you know what? You are so kind. He was like, normally when we're in this area, is a motorcycle group, so I guess they travel. And he was like, normally when we're in this Memphis area, the women are so mean. They are so snappy at you and ... And I was like, oh my God, sir, that would have been me just yesterday. And I just started to testify, because I'm still like that. Somewhere that man telling this story. But anyway, but yeah, so I knew that I had experienced a deliverance, but and what I find is that people experience that high moment that, oh my gosh, this part is better. And they don't think that there's anything else to do. That was not the ending of my journey. That was the beginning of my journey. And so fast forward through a couple of the heartbreaks and things and all that. And then that last heartbreak where God set me down. I had been to school then. I had gotten my master's degree. I knew I needed more than just, okay, I'm just going to push on and keep moving after this breakup. And then the guy broke up with me. We, parted ways, and God literally took me through not just the mental health of it, not just let me process the feelings. Let me deal with the disappointment. Let me do feeling word exercises. Not just that. He took me to the deeper things that were going on in there. Like, this guy was cool and all, but I was never messed up about a guy. So I literally was like, God, why am I so messed up about this? Like, I find somebody else, and God just started to unfold all these inner things that I didn't really, in all that healing that had taken place, talking to a therapist, doing all that healing that had taken place, I still wasn't whole. I still wasn't whole because the hole was still in my soul. Like she said earlier about the emotions were not dealt with. We confuse feelings and emotions. They're not the same. Emotions are that deeper space within you that is almost like subconscious. Feelings that you could choose your feeling. Pastor Jacob walk in the room and one of us is happy and the other one's upset. That and you could choose to be different based on things that have happened. But that emotion that seeps in after the event happened and just sticks itself on you, that's the stuff that the soul detox deals with. That's the stuff. That's the questions we deal with that find answers to. Those are the layers we peel back in the soul detox. It's a 12-week program, and it's literally changing people's lives. In that when you deal with that, it changes things. It literally changes things. I have yet to work with a woman who completed the full program and followed all the instructions, who didn't experience a life-changing event. Dating is, I say I'm a dating coach, y'all, but I really ain't. I'm a soul care coach is what I am, but don't nobody know what that means. But we use dating as a tool because the way you show up in dating is an indicator of some of that stuff going on in your soul. So it's just one of the more prominent relationships. And since that's how my soul care journey came through, that's the vehicle that I use too, is people's dating habits and kind of survey their dating life, and we go from there. But yeah, that's how the program goes.
How often is the soul wounds connected to childhood?
Most times, not every single time, because I have some clients who had really great childhoods and things like that. The soul wounds come through relationships, but it either come through the people we choose or the people we didn't get to choose. So some people, it may come through a work thing or, neighbors or something like that, people we didn't choose. Family, it may come through that. But for some of us, it came through who we chose. The people that we allowed ourselves, friendships, dating relationships, ex-husbands and wives, things like that. So yes, I was going to come through a relationship, but maybe not always 100% childhood. Hasn't been in my experience with people I work with.
In your healing, does it take the 12-week program? Does it take about 12 weeks, you think? The 3 months, is that like a normal time to start seeing some healing? Or is that just the beginning of the healing process? Or do you think you'll start seeing some healing?
That's a really good question. So the program started off 10 months because I had a test group too. Let me back up a bit. When I went through that healing journey and he broke up with me and I was just sitting there, I also a week later lost my job. And so while I'm processing all the things and stuff is coming to me, I felt God speak to me and say, write this down because I want to use you to teach it to other singles. And so fast forward, the program started at 10 months. We did one section per month. I took it to 6 months and now we're down to 3 months. Because what I'm learning is if you go ahead and lock into the program, it can work for you quickly. I'm trying to do it over a weekend. That's my next thing.
Wait, Miss Tracy, Tracy, hold on. Are you saying there is a possibility that just as Jesus rose in 3 days, you can rise out of the graveyard of depression and heartache, and that's what you try to accomplish in 3 days? If Jesus could do it, can't
Jesus doing this? He doing it for the 6 months and the 12 weeks. He doing it anyway. So hey.
We can't hear you, Prophetess Tish.
Oh, I would say it comes with a mindset shift. And so it's quick because it's certain things that I came out of with just a thought, and that thought shifted my mind. And so it allowed me to begin to do that healing process on my own, to where just like, wait a minute, you got to change the way you talk to yourself. Quickly, my mind shifted to be more accountable of how I'm talking to myself and be aware of it. And so my mind shifted, a mindset. That's a lot of people are going, for us, the mindset shifts, right? And so my mind shifted, which allowed that healing to come forth, because now I'm looking and saying, hold on. And I'm asking myself questions at this point and holding myself accountable to self. So some of it does happen that way. For me, some of it did.
Yeah. It's
So
very able.
So what's your next project coming up?
Oh, well. I would, oh boy.
In 3 days. He got up in 3 days.
See,
she got up in 3 days.
That is one thing that I would love to do, is work with somebody. They're going to need a week to do one part of it, or some time to do one part of it. So it may be like 2 weekends, but I think it's very possible if we could get the right people together in a weekend, we could do it. But for me, my next thing that's really on my heart is to get more exposure. In that I would love to turn this into a show of some sort. I used to say all the time, Iyanla, but with my program as with the Soul Detox as the kind of thing that guides our work together. I would love
Come
to
on over to Anointed Radio TV.
Come on over to the Anointed Radio Networks.
Come on over to the Anointed Radio Network and put that show on.
That's right.
Listen, tell me more.
Go ahead and hit Prophetess Tish and
TV at anointedradio.com. Just email me and we can talk about that.
Sure thing.
I do think it would be an awesome show, though, for real.
I do too. And for the single people, I'm just gonna say, what does healing look like for me on this other end? I have, I'm not gonna tell all my business, but I will tell you some. I was married for over 14 years to a pastor. We have a wonderful friendship because I really believe in forgiving people. I look at things spiritual. So you can't, if you can't forgive your brother, how can the Lord you serve forgive you? You have to be able to forgive people. And sometimes that take work, and that looks different for different people. I can actually talk to you, say hi, have dinner, and I'm okay with that. But the healing is, I love what you said about how it starts in the inside. It's about really taking the things that you have given to other people. A lot of times when you're angry with people, you're giving them a lot of energy. You're giving them a lot of thought. Why not take that energy and that thought and put it back in yourself? And it's really about doing a lot of, like you say, the soul care, a lot of self-love. When somebody hurts you, I like to write down, what is it how did this person make me feel? What was good about them? What wasn't so good about them? What do I need to do for myself? And how do I need to get there? And I'm telling you, once you start loving yourself, you may find that it might be hard to ever want to share your closet space, and don't let the Lord bless you with some good finances coming in, and all your needs is met. You don't need nobody to pay your bills. You don't need their income, and don't let the Lord just love on you and give you joy for no reason. You just walking around the house. You got a home that you prayed for. Your home is clean. Your bills is paid. You could go on a vacation and you feel the love of God. And you just realize everything I need, I have in the Lord. I done had some bad relationships. I done been used and abused. I might as well let the Lord use me if I'm going to be used up. I'm telling you. So I'm just saying, it's good and bad and everything. You got to take the good with the bad. But even when it's bad, God is growing you if you learn from it. But I'm just going to say, it's a nice life being single. My bathroom stay clean. Glory be to God. I know where my money is. I got peace, and I don't argue with nobody but myself. So usually I win.
I was going to ask who won that battle when you were arguing with yourself. But
still say, huh?
So one thing I think that is something that's deep, I think everybody could take away, is that sometimes we deserve the love that we always give away to everybody else.
Every time.
We deserve that love to ourselves too. Like, we are so crucial. We are so particular. We are so harsh with yourself. And it's just like what she said with the mind shift. And I really feel like if you really start changing how you show up for yourself, watch how your life change. Because a lot of us have not showed up for ourselves. We show up for everybody and never show up for ourselves. And that mindset really does damage. And I'm speaking from a person that I'm going to therapy to work on that, because it's easy to be the provider. It's easier to do things for others. But when it comes to yourself and really sit with yourself, that's rough, because if you can't even, how can I say this? This is going to set somebody free. If you can't sit and listen to yourself, especially, I'm speaking to myself, I'm telling on myself. If you don't even like hearing your own self speaking and your own self doing the singing or the reading or the word or whatever you do, if you can't deal with yourself, then that's where you start at. Because adding somebody gonna just take and distract you from being able to find you in the first place, so you could be whole and be healed. Because it's hard to be whole when you don't even like yourself.
Oh, Pastor Jay, you know what? I just got convicted so bad. And I just got to tell y'all this. I was talking about all that stuff about loving yourself. And the Lord said it didn't start with your love. It started with mine. It didn't start with your love. It started with me loving you and you realizing the love that I have for you that healed you. It didn't start with you, and it doesn't end with you either. I love you to the very ends of the earth. What can separate you from the love of God? It started by realizing that the way that God loves you, it's a healing in that love, and he'll help you love yourself. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. I was like, ooh, I was giving myself way too much credit. Let me back up, because I don't want to get in trouble. Go ahead, Pastor Jay. Just go ahead.
So go ahead, Jay.
So I think for the married couples, I'll speak for the married couple. How long have you been married, Miss Tracy?
It'll be 5 years in March 11th. But we've been together for 10 years. Well, 10 years the end of this year.
So I'm 5 years with you, December 2nd of last year, right?
Nice.
And
I hit 19. She hit 19. Prophet's got 19 on y'all. What 19? You got, Pastor Jay?
I got going on 12 in March.
Pastor Jay got going on 12.
When's your anniversary? In
March 15th.
Okay.
I got married on a payday, because military get paid on the 1st and the 15th. Hey, boop, boop. Never forget.
In your class, in your dress greens.
I didn't have dress greens. Sorry.
You had the blues. You had
yes,
blues in your blues. Didn't you get married in your blues?
I did get married in my military uniform. I looked like a whole different person. He's inside somewhere. Go ahead, Jay.
I was just saying that, even being married, and I know a lot of people speak about and against married couples having their alone time and just being by themselves. I actually enjoy being by myself with just peace and quiet.
First of all, I want to check your sources. Who said in marriage that you can't have alone time? Because that's one thing that if someone told you that, they failed, because it's just one thing that I've learned in marriage is that you have to have your time to be able to think and pray and to be able to collect yourself.
No, and alone time can consist of just being by yourself for many, many hours. And most women, most wives won't ever agree to that, especially on the weekend, on the off day.
No, that's why me and Tracy like sitting in our cars for hours.
I have a whole man cave where I am in it right now.
I didn't want to tell myself, but I enjoy sitting in my car for the first hour I get home of just nothing.
Ain't nobody gonna tell them? Y'all women not gonna tell them?
So one thing I want to go, I just want to say this too.
They like y'all to have y'all alone time.
Yeah.
Because they want to be left alone too.
So, and to Jay, I want
you. Let me speak up right quick. Hold on.
I gotta say this before I lose it. Jay, I want you to know this too. This is something I learned, because I used to do that. But while you're in there in your car in an hour, remember this: your wife, your kids deserve the full you, because you left the house and you gave the world all this piece of you. You gave your job all this piece of you. You gave all these people a piece of you. When you come home, you shouldn't give leftovers. I had to learn that the hard way, because a lot of times I'll come home and I'll flash because I'm like, man, bro, I've been at work all day. Man, everybody want to talk to me, but they don't deserve leftovers. My kids don't deserve leftovers. My wife don't deserve leftovers. So in that car, if it take you an hour, if it take you 30 minutes, sometimes you got to be able to just learn how to meditate and reset so that you could be able to give all of you and be in that position as dad, as husband. So when you come into the house, you 100%, and they don't feel like, dang, here dad come. Because that's one thing that I learned as a husband and a father over the years, because a lot of times, especially when I was senior pastor, I did more. When I heard it from my kids, it hurt me. They was like, you do all this stuff for the church people. When it come to us, we last. And that hurt me. So I had to learn how to be able to balance that, because we give so much to events, church events, other events, going here, doing that. But when it comes to our kids, it's kind of like when we come home. I know a lot of times we want to do that space, but sometimes just that hour sitting with your boys, that hour sitting, with the wife and just saying, you know what, how was your day? Change the atmosphere so that when you do tiptoe to your man cave like I am right now, they ain't tripping. Because you gave them
That's it. I don't ever get tired of being around my husband. Never, ever. Call it crazy. I mean, we enjoy each other. That man told me when we met, we're going to have a lot of fun. And I be doggone, we have. We love being around each other. But that does give space for us when we need to, I need to go over here and take care of this, or I need to go do that. We do. But there is no deficit in the account, the us account. The time together account. If ever there is, I heard Kev on stage say it recently. He was saying how people used to mess with him, say, oh, he got to ask his wife, can he go hang out? And he was like, no, it's not that I have to ask her. He said, if I've been on the road for the past 6 days, and I got a weekend off, I can't come hang out with y'all. I don't even want to come hang with y'all. I got to invest in this relationship before I can even consider doing other things, because I got to take care of home first. Right. So yeah, I agree 100%, Pastor Jay. It's all about making that investment such that when you need that time to yourself, it doesn't feel like neglect to the people inside the house,
Because even Michelle Obama said that. And she said when they was single, but without kids, she was like, well, go do you. And then, but when it came down to kids, she said that she felt like she's with the kids. Now you want to go golfing. I want to go golfing. I can't go nowhere. I got the kids, but you gone. So it kind of just gets to a point of, if you invest into that balance, and that's what everybody just has to really see what your balance is. Your balance might look different, but that balance to be able to show, and something got me, because when you think of trauma, let's go back just a little bit back to when I said trauma, about childhood trauma. I pictured myself as a kid saying, man, I wish my dad could play the game with me. And then to hear my kids say what they said, that hit me. I was like, I saw little me again. So it's just kind of like, wow, we can't let life be so much where we ain't got time for our loved ones, because we didn't just come on this earth to pay bills, pay taxes, and die.
Ooh.
We got to enjoy the loved ones that we have around us and enjoy that time. So with that, I want Miss Tracy, what would you give somebody that's been hurt, trying to figure this dating thing out? What would be some encouraging words that you would leave with that person?
If you are on that dating journey and it's frustrating, it's not enjoyable, it's starting to feel like, okay, when this person gonna show up? What's the problem? Like, if you're starting to feel a way pertaining to dating, that's an indicator that there is work to do on the inside. Yeah, okay, you've been in therapy. Yeah, you've done this. But if you've done all that and you still feel anxious about dating, you still feel disappointed, you still feel like, oh, I just pee in the dating pool. All those things are all flashing lights that your soul got something need to get done. So come see me. That's it. That's the word, baby. Come see me. That's
like that. Sponsored by Soul
Sponsored by Soul.
Well, Miss Tracy, I thank you so much. We're coming at the end, and I just wanted to just say thank you on the behalf of Anointed Radio for having you on, sharing your knowledge, sharing your story. And one thing I definitely say to everybody that comes on the show, once you come on the show, you are family. So anything that you have to promote or anything in the means that we can do for you, we'll definitely put it out there. We'll definitely let people know what you are doing, because our mission statement is that united brings change. If the body of Christ could unite and help each other, it would be much of an impact of change so that things could start heading the right way. So I'm definitely want to just encourage you to keep doing the things that you're doing, and all the great things. I know we didn't get all into impact, but I feel like God led us the way, because somebody obviously was pulling to ask these questions, because man, we definitely went there tonight. So with that, I just say thank you. And to all my audience people, make sure you share, like, subscribe. Make sure that you download the Anointed Radio app. And if you did not know, you can listen to all of our previous podcasts that are from Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all them other places that don't let us. And you can listen to us on YouTube. So make sure you follow us on all the podcast platforms, and make sure you download the Anointed Radio app for 24-hour gospel, and download the Anointed Radio app for Roku, so you could be able to watch the TV series and all the future TV series and movies and things that's up there, because we have already great content up there and you can watch it now. So make sure that you tune in. Much love. And all I can say is enjoy the steps, the first step, the second step, the third step, and stop skipping steps, because God wants you to really learn the lessons so that you don't have to keep going back. With that being said, love y'all. Bye.